This is round 1 of a 4-round tournament that we played at Flesh and Blood Foundry at Portland, Oregon. At the top of the screen is a local player, Steve, playing a Druid deck, and at the bottom of the screen is a local player, Darian, playing a Templar deck. Turn 1, they're getting set up. Looks like Steve played a Windmill, and Darian played a Forge, created the Lance token, and then passed turn. Steve preparing to drop his second sight. Looks like a Quagmire. Unfortunately, can't make use of the Genesis on that. And then plays out a Bosk Troll. Just to hit mana curve there. Passing turn to Darian. Darian is drawing a sight for his turn. Tapping for his second sight. And he's playing Tournament Ground. I think he thought about it for a moment. He wasn't sure if he wanted to meet Steve in the middle, since the Bosk Troll was preparing to swing in, potentially on the next turn. But the middle site there is probably the better location strategically for the Tournament Ground. With the deck that Darian is running, he wants to be able to play out all of his unique knights without the threshold costs and get them out as quickly as possible into a position where they're going to be relevant on the battlefield. And as you can see, he plays Sir Agravain using the Templar discount. Sir Agravain, a very powerful piece, potentially. If you can get another piece on board and start striking, and just getting free strikes while stealth from Agravain, it is a little difficult to deal with. So clearly not a card that Steve has seen across the table very often. So he's just taking a look at it and just getting a quick review over what it does. Steve putting down his third sight. Looks like a Kingdom of Agartha. So the Kingdom of Agartha would grant all minions Burrow if he had threshold for it, and I think he does. He has three earth to activate that. Sitting at 3 mana, sitting with the Bosk Troll. He's going to go ahead and attack into the site. And Darian not opting to block, which is probably the wise choice there. I wouldn't give away that piece on a trade with a Bosk Troll. And then Steve playing out a Unicorn and flying the Owl over to the King of Agartha. Darian setting up for his next turn here. Steve has a lot of pieces on the board right now, but Agravain is potentially pretty scary if Darian can get some more minion power on the board. He's playing a Windmill. And one of the primary issues with playing a Templar deck right now is that a lot of the knights that you want to use in that deck have really greedy threshold requirements. That's why you play things like Tournament Ground, even though there's a downside to it if your opponent is playing any relevant cards that they can take advantage of and use your site to cast. But he plays out a Sorcery, which again is going to be harder for Steve to deal with if he doesn't remove it, especially with Sir Agravain being able to kind of activate on strikes and get additional strike value. Darian, it looks like, is just moving Agravain up to the Quagmire, again with stealth, and then passing turn. So Steve opting to attack into the site, and Darian is thinking about whether or not he wants to block with Sorcery, and then choosing not to block. And I think honestly that's probably what I would do in that situation too. I wouldn't trade that piece. I would keep that on board, just because right now it threatens to be able to at least remove the boss control, activate Sir Agravain to get an extra strike on something. There's more potential value on board. Steve is blinking the boss control, however, to the windmill site and then attacking that for another 3, which puts it out of range of Sorcery. And then I believe he activated the Druid to draw sight and then passed turn here. Darian drawing a sight for turn. So he has some options here. He does still, the Templar is still holding that lance that he generated from turn 1. He could walk it up to Sorcery, or he could tap for a sight. And it looks like he's tapping to play a sight instead. He's going to play a rune onto his back row. And he's just adjusting for threshold now. I'm actually not sure what he has for threshold. Looks like 2 fire, 2 air, 1 earth. And it looks like he's asking if he can take that back. So he's going to take that back. And instead, he's going to just attack the boss control with the Templar. The Templar, again, has a power of 2, plus the lance will give it an additional strike, and it would strike first. Additional power on strike, and it strikes first. And it looks like then he's playing for 3 mana, Sword and Shield. Sorcery will then attack and kill the unicorn, untap with his ability, and then attack again into the Quagmire. And then it looks like Steve is trying to defend with Tawny, but I think he's forgetting that Tawny is unable to defend. It looks like maybe they don't catch that in this game, though. Steve untapping, readying for his turn here. And looks like he drew into a Crusade, which could be potentially powerful for him. He has lost all of his board presence, though. Darren was able to remove all of his threats, and now, again, is set up with a pretty scary combo here, with Agravain in stealth, waiting to activate with his ability, and Sir Kay with a sword and shield. Tapping for a tower gets an extra mana for turn, so that should be 5 mana for this turn. And I think I see an Earthquake peeking out of his hand, which he is considering. And again, I think he's forgetting that Kingdom of Agartha is active, and so all minions would have Burrow. Yeah, so instead he's going to play a Pudge Butcher for 4 mana. And then pass turn. And Pudge Butcher's only not going to be enough. It's only going to buy him a turn here. Sir Kay can attack into it with a power of 6. Darien now tapping for, I believe, a site. Yeah, there's a ruins. There's that ruins that we saw before. Steve, remembering that he needed to summon Tawny when he played a site. Darien now sitting at 4 mana. And taking a peek at his hand, it looks like he has a joust, and he's looking at it. And I think he's maybe considering using the joust to remove the Pudge Butcher. But is probably not sure, or is probably trying to think through how the joust would work with Pudge being immobile. So because Pudge is immobile, the joust would fizzle out because he's unable to actually move from the site that he's on. He's instead opting to attack into and kill the demon for with Sir Kay. Sir Kay untaps because he has killed a weaker minion. And again, I think he's just hesitating on whether to attack into the site again or not. Because I still think they've forgotten that Tawny is unable to defend. But I think that he thinks that is an option. And so he doesn't want to attack in and get 1 additional point on Sir Kay to kill it. And Agravain is moving, or Agravain is attacking into Kingdom of Agartha. And then he's going to use the Joust to remove Tawny. And then he's going to attack for 6. So yeah, I think they still think that Tawny can defend, which is not the case. But that was a creative way to kind of remove that piece that option from the board in order to get Cirque to push in another 6 points of damage. Steve, starting his turn, he's going to play a Crusade. And play Divine Healing to recoup 7 points, buy himself another turn here. Honestly, if I was Steve at this point, I would consider maybe flipping the Druid to get the bear. Instead, he's going to tap to draw sight. Darian readying for his turn. Again, still Darian, I feel in a pretty strong position here. Tapping for what I think is going to be another sight. Yeah, it's going to be a forge. He's opting to pay 1 for the lance, which is surprising unless he can get another minion cast to claim it. And he does. So he has a Brother Knight. He's going to search to get that second one from the deck, and then probably pick up that lance with the first one. So again, putting a lot of pressure on Steve here, just with pieces on the board. Does put Steve in a very tough spot here. He has a lot of threats that he has to answer in not that much time. He's gonna find himself a door here fairly soon. So yeah, Darian attacking him with 6, activating Agravain's ability to strike for another 3. And then attacking into it looks like the tower for another 3. So 6, 3, 7, 12. 12 points of damage, a huge swing on that turn. And again, just a ton of threats on the board that Steve is going to have to come up with an answer for if he he's going to have to come up with an answer for, or he's going to door on the next turn here. Plays a Dalson Phalanx, which again is not enough to kind of stop this tide, I think. And now he's going to tap the Druid, to get Bruin. So he's got Bruin out, 4 power. He's got the Phalanx, which is a 5. Oh, excuse me. The Bruin was a 5 power. Delson is a 6 from getting a boost from the Crusade. Darren getting his turn started. He still has like the Brother Knights. He still has Agravain. He can send Steve the door this turn fairly easily here. I mean, regardless of what he has in his hands, he could just, if he's worried about losing the sword and shield, he could step back and attack the Quagmire, force a block, and if he blocked with the Phalanx, then he could walk forward with one of the knights and pick up the Sword and Shield. Darren playing is it King's Council? Yeah, King's Council to draw a card for each unique ally. So he drew 2 cards off of that. It's not a card that you see played very often. That's why I had to think about that for a second. But I think in this version of the Templar deck, he's playing a lot of the unique knights and sirs as part of a strategy. So I guess that makes sense to include that in the deck for card draw. And he does have some other scary options in there as well as a grapple shot to round out this game. I think he's thinking pretty hard now. He's like, at this point, he's still in a very good position from what I can see, and I think he's just taking his time and thinking about it, because it's like at that point it's like it's your game to lose. You don't want to make a silly mistake and lose your advantage. So he's going to use the grapple shot to strike and remove the Phalanx. And I think now he's going to attack Bruin. Yeah, he's going to attack Bruin to remove that. And I believe he should have. Yeah, I think he attacked Bruin, untapped K, attacked again. So he's brought Sleep the door, and now he's just kind of repositioning his pieces here in preparation for kind of the checkmate. And yeah, there it is. At that point, Sleep throws in the towel. So a pretty fun game. The Templar it's a fun deck. It's not like super competitive at the top of the meta, but again, in our local area, like a lot of the players, like we just play fun decks. We don't play like hyper competitive meta decks. Templar can be good if it gets the cards it needs to kind of ramp out some of those scary pieces. It's fun to see being played. I've only played Templar, briefly, and I played a different strategy, not really reliant on kind of trying to get out all of the unique sirs. I limited it more to the exceptional units as more of like an aggro package to get those out as fast as I can, like the Vanguard Knights, any of the Arthurian Legend, exceptionals, etc. So a really fun game to watch. It was it was a pretty dynamic game, and it was just a shame that they, I think, forgot about the Tawny rules. But that was a round 1 game in our tournament. This was a 4-round tournament, 10-man, and we'll see you in the next game for round 2.